Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Wednesday. We got some big news. Obviously, the CPI data came out. It was better than expected. We came in at 8.5 today instead of the 8.7 that was expected. So that's a good sign. So obviously, the markets were up today. S&P was up 2.13%. Dow Jones was up 1.61%. And NASDAQ was up 2.89%. Bitcoin was also up today. So we'll take a look at Bitcoin here in a minute. We'll also take a look at the miners, see how they did. The miners were up huge today. Cleanspark killed it today on the markets, which was really good. I'm actually positive now in Cleanspark. I do own Cleanspark. You guys know that. So I'm really happy about that. We'll take a look at the July CPI data as well. We'll take a look at DMG July update. They didn't really have a good month in July, so we'll get into it here a little bit. They're still waiting on miners to come in. Cleanspark third quarter results. Obviously, they had a loss, but we'll get into all the numbers here, and we'll cover it all. So as always, you guys are aware, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm investing in the following coins and companies. So let's get into the market here. Really quick, you can see obviously S&P is up, Dow Jones is up. We're pretty much green here all across the board. This is on the semiconductor, home builders, renewables, real estate, housing. Everything was pretty much in the green today. It was a good day in the market. So Bitcoin right now is at 23,860 roughly. It is still battling with our 23,800 line here that we have as our resistance. We've been battling it here in the past 3 days, and then we obviously battled with it 4 days here in the last 2 weeks or so. And until we actually close above it, have a nice rally up above it, we may continue to go down a little bit, but we'll see. Right now, we are just battling with that resistance. It's having a hard time getting above it. So that is on the daily charts. Looking at the 1 hour chart here, we can see, let me put in the 200 weekly moving average as well, that we are way above, obviously, the weekly moving average, which is good. We were battling with it here a little bit earlier. This was today yesterday night, and this morning around midnight we were battling with it. We finally were able to go above it, and then it looks like right around when CPI data came out today, everything went up, and it went up nicely. We did obviously fall below it a little bit here, below our resistance, and then we came back above it, and we're still battling with it right now. So we'll see where we end up on the day, whether we end up above it or not. We got about 57 minutes left in the day for Bitcoin on the chart, so we'll see where that ends up. Right now, it looks like we could possibly continue to go up a little higher based on the RSI. Okay, Ethereum is at 1,849. Obviously, had a nice pump as well. Today, right around the same time as Bitcoin did, at 7 o'clock in the morning, right around the time CPI data came out. And it has obviously been going up higher here. We are still, let me see if I think we might be getting into new highs here for, we're getting into new highs here for Ethereum right now. So obviously the good thing is RSI has been holding steady, more or less flat along here, while the price has been going up in the last 2 weeks or so. So that's a good sign there. So it looks like we may continue that trend going forward. I think the same might be said for Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin has been the RSI has been falling down, while the price has been going up. So that's also a good sign there. All right, let's take a quick peek at the miners here, and then we'll get into the news, obviously. So Argo was up 8.3% today on the news, and it is at 54 cents right now, almost 55 cents. Bit Digital was up 13.42% to $1.69. Bitfarms was up 9.55% to $1.72. Cleanspark was up 27.78% to $5.98. It totally rocketed today, and I think that's because of the news that they're going to be at what exahash they're planning to be in 2023, which is a huge increase for them. We'll get into that as well. Cores was up 14.84% to $3.25. DigiHost was up 3% to $1.37. DMG was up 7.95% to 31 cents. Greenidge was up 10.16% to $4.01. And Hive was up 10.18% to $6.06. And it looks like it's getting close to its 200 weekly moving average here. So it'll be interesting to see if it can get above it. We are looking a little bit overbought on the RSI right now on Hive. Hut 8 is up today 11.52% to $2.71. Iris Energy was up 8.6% to $5.81. Luxfolio was up 7.56% to 10 cents. Marathon was up 15.95% today to 16.36. It is obviously above its 200 weekly moving average, which is good, and it has stayed above it for the past 3 days, it looks like, possibly 4 days. So that's a good sign there. RSI is kind of flat on it, but it has continued to go up, so that's also a good sign there. Mawson was up 4.02% today to 87 cents. Riot was up 11.85% to $9.11. It's still way below its 200 weekly moving average. And Stronghold was up 9.45% to $2.78. So like I said, obviously a great day for the miners, for the stock market, for Bitcoin in general. And hopefully, this will continue going forward. So let's get into the news here. I want to show you guys the CPI data really quick. We'll talk about it here really quick as well. And we'll get into the DMG news and Cleanspark news. So obviously the CPI data came in at 8.5. It was expected by an analyst that we're going to be at 8.7. So it's obviously a beat on it, which is a good sign, which obviously helped the markets go up today, which was great. So we're not going to get too deep into the woods on this, but we are just going to cover it here really quickly. Obviously, a lot of us were thinking that back in March, right around here, we were at I think it was 8.3 or maybe it was even 8.5 that, we kind of reached our peak here. We obviously went down below that in April, and then we followed 2 months of increases, which was obviously not good. And then obviously this month in July, we had a nice downslide, which was great to see. So we're at 8.5 right now. And here are the interesting things that obviously went down quite a bit to bring us down below the 9.1 that we were in June. So energy was down overall 4.6%. Energy commodities was down 7.6%. Gasoline was down 7.7%. And fuel oil was down 11%, which was good to see. Gas was also down 3.6%. And used car and trucks were actually down 0.4%, which was good. Obviously, they've been on a tear lately. Apparel was also down 0.1%, and the transportation services were down 0.5% as well. The ones that were kind of going up is food at home has gone up quite a bit, 1.3%, which is right here, and food at home also 1.1, it looks like. Or no, that's all food at home. This is food at home. Here, it's kind of hard to follow along. And then this one here is food away from home. So that is, in a nutshell, kind of what we're looking at right now, which is good. Obviously, we don't have the Fed meeting in August, so we won't get any increases in interest rates. They are going to meet in September, which obviously means that possibly in September, depending on what the data comes back for the CPI in August, in September, we may get an interest rate hike, or they may just hold the line depending on how CPI data looks like, right? So if that comes in good or lower than 8.5, I think they might hold off on any more interest rate hikes. Or if they do go up, they might go up 0.25%, 25 basis points basically from that, which wouldn't be bad, which will also might lead us to a soft landing. But it's too early to tell right now. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Okay, so that's all of that. Let's take a look at DMG news. So DMG provided this on Twitter the other day for their July production updates. The BTC mine was 54. Daily average was about 1.7. Hash rate added, they didn't add any hash rate. So they're still currently at 680 petahash. And then they added obviously 0 miners during that month. And here's some of the takeaways from it. So Bitmain S19J Pro monthly order did not arrive in July. Bitmain XP monthly order did not arrive in July as well. So July's heat wave negatively affected BTC production. Bitmain's July's S19J Pro and XP orders are now shipped to DMG, totaling 87 petahash to be added possibly either this month or next month. We just don't know that right now. All right, so let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them. Excuse me. DMG right now is at 32 cents. Shares outstanding is 161 million roughly, based on the market cap of 51.6 million. And current hash rate obviously 680. Future hash rate is about 1 exahash. So they are about 65.38% currently installed. Number of miners is about 6,800. A hash rate average per miner is about 100 terahash, which is good. BTC HODL, they did not provide any recent HODL. This is from, let's see here, what is this coming up as? So they reported it back in March. So hopefully for the Q2 quarter, they're going to provide us as far as if they're HODLing anything right now. We just don't know that. Current BTC value on that is 8.8 million roughly. And that equates to about 17.19% of their HODL to market cap ratio. And one share has basically 6 cents of HODL position in it right now. So looking at the BTC production for the past couple months, so they had obviously 54 this month in July, 76 in June, 48 in May, 88 in April, 74 in March, 63 in February, 64 in January. So they've been kind of going up a little bit here. And then they obviously had a huge decrease in May. June was a little bit better month for him, 76, and July was another bad month for him as well. So that got us to about 1.25 million in revenue roughly. And that's because we're using the end of July's Bitcoin price. They might be using the daily price when that comes to actually providing their revenue for the quarter. So that's kind of what we're going by is the end of each month Bitcoin price. They might be going by the daily price when they do sell it or when they mine it. So based on that, obviously we didn't install any new miners, so there's nothing really to look at here. We will look at institutions really quick as well. And institutions went down a little bit to 7 from 11 in July. And shares also went down to 2.8 million from 3.3 million. And percentage owned went to 1.69 from 2.01. So obviously decreases all across the board there. Still have 1 buy rating on them. And the target is 78 cents instead of 77 cents now for the high, average, and low. And based on the information that we currently have on them, we are looking at approximately 6.1 million for this quarter if they get some miners installed and actually operating. I can show you guys something. So it looks like based on what they mined as far as 54 BTC in July, it looks like they were operating for only 18.2 days out of the month, which is not good. Obviously, that could have, if they had they been mining all month, they would have obviously mined quite a bit more BTC. But like they said, because of the heat, they were doing curtailment. And that's why they only came in at 54. Going back here, so first, this current quarter, we're at 6.1 million. Last 3 quarters, we're looking to be about 26 million or so. And change, if we take a little bit, and then combined total is 32 million. So if we're looking at 50% net income from gross revenue, and a PE of 10, we're looking at it to be about $1.02. And that's, I'm using a PE of 10 because they don't have much more growth to go to get to their 1 exahash. They're 65% installed already, so there's only 35% more growth in this. And if we're using the 75% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at $1.52. Obviously, if Bitcoin starts pumping a little bit, we could get up to maybe a 15 PE multiple, so $1.52 to $2.29 on the stock price, somewhere around there. So currently, I do believe that they are undervalued, as most miners are right now. But we definitely need them to get more miners installed, and it's kind of for some of the other miners as well. They're having a hard time getting the miners in. So we obviously want to see miners getting installed, hash rate increasing, and then possibly some news about them growing their future hash rate, which would also be good to getting the stock price up a little bit higher. Okay, all right, so that's it for DMG. Let's get into Cleanspark. So Cleanspark, I was surprised by this. I did not read this yesterday when it came out. I kind of just, browsed through it. So Cleanspark reports third quarter fiscal year 2022 financial results. This is the thing that I did not see. They increased their 2023 year-end hash rate guidance to 22.4 exahash, which is a huge increase from them. And I'll show you what I have them at right now. Cleanspark, I have them at 4.86, roughly 5 exahash currently for future hash rate. So that's basically a 4x increase in future hash rate if they can pull it off. Obviously, we don't have any reports as far as what miners are going to be buying or what they're going to be doing. But right now, they are obviously on a buying spree. They just bought up a facility yesterday in, where was it? In Georgia someplace. Can't remember the name exactly where it's at. But they bought up a facility and some miners with it along with it. So they're growing their hash rate that way. And then we'll see, obviously, if they can pick up some more miners along the way as well. So let's get into their 10Q report here. And like I said, we'll go over this kind of quickly. There isn't too much bad news here. Obviously, a lot of miners are having a hard time right now with Bitcoin being down. So it is what it is, but it's not that bad for them, which is good. So total current assets is 29.4 million compared to 57 million back in September 30th. Total assets is 411 million compared to 317. So that's obviously a nice growth there. We did have obviously a decrease in the total current assets by about, 28 million or so, 27.5 million or so. So that's not too bad. And total current liabilities is 19 million, a little bit of an increase from September of 10 million. So this is almost 20 million actually, which is not too bad. Obviously, they've grown quite a bit. Total liabilities is 34 million, up from 11 million in the September period. And total stockholder equity is 376,866,000 roughly. And here's the interesting part of it. So digital currency mining revenue, they did increase that quite nicely. Excuse me, from the prior year. So 30.9 million. Last year they were at 8.6 million. So obviously almost almost 4x, 3.5x, something like that from last year. That's nice growth, obviously. Cost of revenue is about 10 million. So we're looking at approximately 33% or so is their cost to mine it. So 66% profit margin roughly on Bitcoin mining, which is pretty good. Some are at 50%, some are a little bit below that. So that's actually pretty good. Some are actually higher than that, even closer to the 70 mark. But still 66% gross profit is pretty good. And let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to point out that was kind of out. Payroll expenses. So nice thing to see payroll expenses coming down to 7.6 million compared to 10.9. General administrative went up a little bit to 2.1 from 1.1, and realized gain loss sale on digital currencies, that was an increase. Depreciation, obviously had more depreciation, 14.8 million compared to 2.1. And then obviously total costs and expenses was 45.9, almost 46 million compared to 21. So that was almost a 2x increase from the year before. And loss per share was 39. Loss or discontinued operation per income share, 32 cents. I think they're going by 32 cents loss by it. So obviously they're in growth mode. That's okay. We're obviously in a slump with Bitcoin as well. That's okay. But big thing is obviously we want to see the debt come down a little bit. So let's take the numbers I have for them on it, and we'll go over that. So Cleanspark, here's Cleanspark right here. Here's what we're looking at. Total current assets is about 29 million. Current liabilities is about 19, almost 20 million. So that's a current ratio of 1.473. So that means they have at least 1.5 times that of current liabilities. So they're not in any trouble there. And total liabilities are 34 million, and total equity is 376. So that's a debt to equity ratio of 0.091, which is really good. It's pretty low on there. And then current assets minus total liabilities. So we're looking at the total amounts that they have, and they're basically shy of 4.73 million, which isn't too bad. It's one of the lowest ones here as far as that's being negative. Other guys are 49.11 million, 769 million, 387 million. So they obviously, with current assets and everything, they could pay it off. Obviously, if they had to sell some miners or something like that, they could pay it off. So it's not a big deal. Otherwise, let me see here. I think that is it on this part. And let's get into Cleanspark here really quick as well on the numbers. So after they provided 30.94 million, I had them at 28.819 million estimated. So I was off by 6.86% on the numbers here. I was on the downside. They were actually beat my numbers, which is probably because they're using the daily Bitcoin price. I'm using the monthly end of month Bitcoin price. And that's possibly why we're off a little bit here. I want it to be at least within 2.5%. I was off a little bit higher than that. You can't win them all. I was pretty close here at 2.67, but way off. Obviously, Bitcoin prices come falling way down, so it's a little bit harder to get really close to that. But we're trying our best to get there. So based on that, I have new numbers here for them as far as their combined totals for this current quarter, which is, we're guessing, at about 27.7 million. If they get those new miners installed, well, they're already installed, but energized, and they close on the deal sometime within the next 30 days, that means possibly in August or September, those miners will be running. And those are the miners here, which are the 3,400 miners, the 100 terahash at 340 petahash, instant increase to their miner fleet, which is really good. And that would basically get us to about 132 million in revenue for the current quarter and the last 3 quarters. So that we're looking at the 4 quarters here. And if we're using 50% net income from gross revenue, we're looking at 66 million. Obviously, they said that they're going to be at approximately, we calculated they're about 66%. So they're somewhere in between the 75% net income and the 50% net income, which the 75% net income, I have them at 48.18. And that gets, we're using obviously the 20 PE on this. And given that they're going to be growing to possibly 22.4 exahash here, which is a lot of growth, I could see them getting the same kind of multiples possible as Marathon. right? Marathon, when Bitcoin starts going up, they're getting, multiples of 25, 28, sometimes even 30. So currently they are still obviously at $5.98, market cap of 246 million. Obviously, I think they are way undervalued right now, especially when they provide information on the miners that they're going to be getting to 22.4 exahash. So huge growth potential in this one, obviously. That's why I'm invested in. I wasn't expecting them to grow that fast. And I don't know how fast they're going to be able to pull it off, obviously, even next year to get to the 22. That's a lot of machines that have to be installed. Even if you're looking at the 140 terahash miners, it's going to be a lot of miners that need to be installed. A lot of infrastructure has to be built out. Or if they go with hosting providers, it's still going to take a long time. So we've seen already with Marathon having issues getting to 22.3 exahash. They keep kicking the can down the road a little bit. They've been having problems with that. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can execute on it. If they can execute on it well, then obviously the stock is going to pump really hard here. And we've seen it today was up 28% on the day based on the news. So like I said, way undervalued in my opinion, as well as a lot of the other miners is way undervalued currently. I think once Bitcoin starts going back up, they are going to outperform Bitcoin in a big way. So that's why I love the space. I love the miners. I think they're a great hedge against Bitcoin without having to, do margin or anything else on Bitcoin. You can do these miners, but obviously you can get wrecked on them when they do fall down, which is also can be pretty painful. I've been dollar cost averaging into Cleanspark here since it was around $9, and I've been just buying it, dollar cost averaging it. Every time I went down 20, 30%, I would be buying more into it. So I think right now I have about 500 some shares of it or so. I wish I would have been buying more, but I've been buying Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Rivian, and some other stuff, and we'll see how that all goes. But at least I'm positive now on Cleanspark for the first time in a while, so which is a good sign. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of all this. As always, spreadsheets is available to my Patreon members. Thank you to them sincerely for their support. And thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,